Mtu anashoot aje shot. Why and how? How does someone shoot their shot? That's a very good question. When do you know that someone is God sent and real? By touching them? I mean, that's how you know they're real. The difference between dating and being in a relationship. Let's talk about the difference between dating and being in a relationship. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 3, I believe, of Kevin's Pod. It's a Q&A. As always, I'm excited. I'm always excited for Q&As because I get to create content with your help. So I don't have to think a lot. I just need to answer your questions and come up with content from that. So we are creating content together. I love it. So thank you for engaging me as always on my Instagram. Please, you can follow my Instagram page because I engage a lot there at Maina. You can follow me on TikTok at Maina. You can follow me on Twitter at Maina. You can follow me at Facebook at Maina. Easy to good idea to go back to someone who left you for someone else before. I'm assuming that when you're asking this question, this someone is now trying to get back to you, because it would be weird if they left you for someone else and you're trying to go back into that relationship unless it's a throuple. So is it a good idea really? My first answer to that question would be no, it's not a good idea, because if this someone didn't see the value in you and left you for someone else before, why would they see that value now? However, there are instances where people make rash decisions and they leave because maybe they're not mature. Also depends on the age that you were dating before. And they left you and now they realize that you were the best thing that they ever had. I think in that case, it's for you to make the judgment. Like, do I want to be with this guy? Is there a risk of him leaving me again for someone better, only to come back and try and play the games? And I don't know, I'm assuming it's a him. It could be a him or it could be a he or she. And then try to play the games where he's trying to get you back and then go to someone else and then try to get you back. Your life will be stifled or stopped for the sake of waiting for someone who doesn't seem consistent with you. I think consistency is very key. Even when things are low, it should be like we're working through things together. We're not just together when the sun is shining. Some things are rather much better as past tense. Like we tried it didn't work. He didn't see the value in me, and that's okay. So, toodles. Next question. Is it normal to want to get into a relationship after a bad experience in one? Very normal. I think I'll use my own experience. I kind of feel like I want to get into a relationship. I know it's not what I need, but sometimes I feel like, damn, it'd be dope to have someone. Yet my previous relationship or previous relationships that I've had, obviously, because they're in the past tense, they did not work out. It was not like a horrible experience, but it was not a good experience. But I offer the opportunity of growth in such that, I went through that, but I've grown in my life to such a place where I took the lessons from that and I'm grateful. And now I'm ready to get into a relationship as a person who has worked on himself and hoping to get someone who has worked on herself. I think the fear is always, what if the past repeats itself? Or what if the past manifests in the future? And that's why it's called upon for you to do the work. Like, don't just get out of a relationship, blame your partner that you are with, and not really go deep inside yourself to think, where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong in this relationship? What were my faults and what can I learn from it? Your fault could be not realizing that the other person is toxic. How do I work on that on myself such that it's not like I'm trying to change someone who's toxic. I'm just trying to heighten my awareness when I see toxicity. I love love completely. Good for you. But I'm in a space where I'm so indifferent to relationships. Normal or I need help? That is an opposite question to the previous one. So the previous one is I had bad experience in my relationships, but I want a relationship. This one is I love, I'm so into relationships, but I'm in a place where I don't want a relationship. And I think that's similarly okay, because there are places where as much as you give love, as much as you want to love, but you feel like you don't want the relationships. I reckon that's what you mean when you say indifferent. When you talk about you don't want the relationships, I think that's really okay. Relationship is not just about love. And that's something that people need to understand. Relationships are not just about love. they are more than that. They are about commitment. They're about companionship. They're about understanding. They're about compromising. So putting all these things in place, I think your brain subconsciously is telling you, yo, we are good on the love thing. Like, we love love, but we're not ready to commit. We're not ready to take on the responsibility of being in a relationship. And I feel for me that's the case. I'd want to love someone extremely, but I'm in a place where circumstances seemingly don't allow. It could be in my head, but seemingly don't allow for me to commit and be in a relationship. So that is pretty normal. It's just about you trying to figure out, like, when now is it the right time for you to sort of settle down and be in that relationship. When do you know that someone is God sent and real? If you want to know they're real, touch them. In all sense, I get what you mean. The when, I don't know when, but the how would be a better question to ask. There's a way that you can always tell someone who is genuine, first and foremost. I've repeated this and I'll say this again. Energy precedes relationship. Vibe precedes relationship. There are people you talk to, and it's like, whoa, where have you been all my life? And it's genuine connection. People that you talk to and you feel like you can keep talking to. Like, you genuinely just feel this person and you appreciate their presence. I think that is the first and that's always on your gut. You can always tell when someone is genuine. And I think that's just it. Like, you just have to be very aware when you're speaking to people. And I always say sometimes that birds of the same feather flock together. If you genuinely work on yourself, you can trust that you will, and I promise you, you'll find someone who has worked similarly on themselves. If I'm a library person, chances are I will make friends with library people. Even though I am in a club and I'm a library person, my natural inclination is in the library, and I'm in a club, I'll still make friends with someone who is a library person. There's a time I met someone when I was javing from school, and it was in a matatu. I just pulled out my book from my bag, and instantly she just looked and she was like, whoa, I've been looking for that book like all this time. And throughout the journey on my commute home, we ended up talking about books. We exchanged contacts. We started reading together. I am a book person. I read a lot. I wouldn't have known that unless I shared my book reading energy, So I always believe that you set up your standards, you meet people who have set their standards high as well. Vibes precede relationships. So you'll always know when someone is genuine just by talking to them. And that's why when you meet someone you feel you're attracted to physically, spare 15 minutes to just go talk to them, to know what's in their brain and how it's not even what's in their brain or how smart they are, to just know how they communicate their thoughts. Very important. What are some of the red flags for a relationship that may not be going anywhere? There are common red flags that you can always see, and I think they will be consistent in our generation. Communication, first of all. That's one of my toxic traits, I think. As much as I'm very eloquent or seemingly eloquent online, and it's something that I've been working on very, very intentionally to a point where I want to make it a habit. There are people who just detach. Instead of communicating, they just don't. They would rather much deal with the situation without being in the situation, not knowing that they're creating a much bigger situation out of trying to make it a seemingly small situation. So yeah, I have been one of those people. I think communication is one of those things. Manipulation. I feel like we're in a generation where people are constantly fed, or their ego is constantly fed by social media kind of vibe, where when you get more likes, you're popular or you have the power. So similar people have learned to manipulate that. If you show someone that you love them, they use that against you to keep you there or keep you around and not really commit or reciprocate the vibes that you're giving. So I feel like communication, manipulation. You can comment down below any other red flags that you think I may not. I've been out of the game for a while. When do you let go? That's a very good question, my friend. And I think you start to let go again when vibes don't reciprocate. You can always tell. When you talk about letting go, it means there was a time this person kinda was into this thing. Or even though they were not into this thing, you were trying to work so hard that they would be in this thing. Like they were reciprocating the vibes. Kidogo tu ile yenye you knew, if maybe you pushed had enough, they would start reciprocating it 100%. Or there was a time that they were in it 100%, and then something happened. Maybe we slept together, and then the vibes died. And it's painful and it's hurtful, but the faster you accept that reality, the quicker your next step is. Mtu anashoot aje shot. Why and how? How does someone shoot their shot? That's a very good question. I would say this, shooting your shot is less about you going to approach the person. It's about working on your internal self and your external self to some extent. When you meet someone or when you see someone who is seemingly attractive and you want to talk to them and suddenly you become nervous, that's a good sign because it means that you care about the situation. So they would be someone important in your life. Secondly, no matter how good someone looks, no matter how composed someone looks, as long as they seem like they put an effort to looking good, their hair is done, they are dressed well, it means that, they care about how they look, right? Everyone is nervous meeting a stranger. Here's always how I think about it. When I'm about to shoot my shot and I feel nervous, there's always this feeling, this implicit feeling, they're way above your league, right? And that's natural to think, even though it is false. What I always remind myself is you are of high value. You're valued, right? So I'm actually doing this person a favor by going to interact with them, because it would be unfair if I didn't, and then they have to miss out on the gem that I am, on the value that I am. Basically, you're trying to tell yourself that you understand that you are worthy of their time, and because they end up experiencing the vibes that you are. If you approach someone and you think they think you're ugly, then you will end up feeling ugly. The way you speak will be ugly. Everything about you will be ugly. Mindset, right? If you approach someone thinking that they think that you're beautiful, suddenly you become beautiful. So I think that's really it. It's how you think about you, or how you think about that the other person thinks about you, that can be tweaked to fit your preference. As long as you think that person thinks you're beautiful, you automatically become beautiful. And secondly, it's knowing that you are worthy, that it will be unfair if you don't approach this lady or guy and risk them falling into someone who is toxic. Like, I would much rather have you so that you don't have to experience any negativity, because I know I've worked on myself. I know I am a beautiful human being and you'll have a good time with me. So they're not necessarily the prize that you have to work for and be scared of getting. You are the prize. So go with that energy. You've helped me learn to enjoy and love spending time alone. Kindly, first of all, thank you. Kindly enlighten us, or me, more about self-love. Good. Like you said, spending time alone. I was having a conversation with a friend on Instagram. And by the way, I always love the engagements on Instagram, on the DMs. Please feel free to always engage me on mature conversations. So I was having a conversation, and my friend, or this friend of mine, was seemingly trying to differentiate what she's feeling. Is she feeling bad because she's alone, or is she feeling bad because she's lonely? Because as human beings, and especially in our age right now, you know that saying that goes, treat others as you'd want to be treated? It should change to treat yourself as you're willing to treat others. Because in our world of social media today, we're so willing to impress others at our own, at our own despair or at our own discomfort. So it has changed. It's like, don't treat others like you'd want to be treated. Treat yourself like you're willing to treat others. So I think self-love is about that in our age today. It's about prioritizing yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our questions. But there is a question that I wanted to handle on this podcast, and it was the idea that I had for this podcast: the difference between dating and relationships. It was asked somewhere on my TikTok. So my understanding is this: dating is basically you're seeing someone. That's dating. That means you're going out, you're getting to know each other. The layman's explanation would be you're conducting an interview. So you're hanging out with this person. You're not exclusive. That's what I mean. You could date exclusively. You could date just as dating, whereby you're just seeing each other, but you're not exclusive. That's the first part of it. So you're just seeing each other, you're just hanging out, you're just going out. That means you're allowed to go out on dates with other people. That means you're allowed to see other people. Dating exclusively is where we say we're still in this talking stage, or in this phase where we're trying to know each other, but now we are hanging out a lot more. We are going out a lot more exclusively. That means we're not allowed to go out with other people. Being in a relationship now is where you're committed. Like, the end game is marriage, or just to be people who are doing life together, whether that means marriage to you, whether that means can we stay, whatever that means to you. But relationships are committed relationships. exclusive in all areas. 360. I'm not even calling anyone else bae in my texts. I'm not even flirting. It's you and me, boo, and we're trying to make life together. And that's it for this episode. I'm gonna head on now and start editing it so that you can see it. But thank you as always for engaging me. Again, the social media page is Maina. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and do so, because that way you get to expand the community. And then do me a simple favor and just share. Share with just one person, not two, not three, just one person. One person that you think may benefit from this. Just share them and then tell them, I really liked that minute 11 part where he talks about blah, blah, blah. Then you can start a conversation and a discourse around it. And then you can come on the comment section and say, Kevin, I don't agree with this part of your statement. And then I can go review it and engage you on the comment section as well. So subscribe, share, comment, and follow me on my social, and then engage me anywhere. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.